Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving deep into Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich, ready to unpack some seriously practical advice. It's kind of wild, right? We're drowning in financial tips from every direction, but actually getting a grip on your money still feels like a mystery for a lot of us.
Totally. And Sethi cuts through that noise to deliver real, actionable steps you can actually use. He nails it right from the start by going straight for those invisible money scripts we pick up without even realizing it.
Yeah, like that whole renting is just throwing money away thing. Heard that one a million times, had me freaking out about renting for years.
It's crazy how these deep-seated beliefs, these scripts, can really mess with even the best financial plans. Like that renting example. Buying into that can make you totally miss the very real perks of renting strategically, especially depending on where you live or where you're at in life.
It's like he's shining a spotlight on this subconscious stuff that could be holding us back without us even knowing.
Exactly, yeah. It can even blind you to different ways to build wealth, like real estate investing.
For sure. Another big one Sethi tackles is the fear of investing, that whole it's only for Wall Street thing.
So many people get stuck on that, right? But what Sethi does so well is he shows you the power of starting early, even if you're only investing small amounts. There's this example he uses, Smart Sally versus Dumb Dan, that just totally changes the game.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. It's crazy how much of a difference it makes. So Dumb Dan, he starts investing later, puts in double what Smart Sally does, but still ends up, like, way behind. How's that even possible?
It's the magic of compound growth. Your money is making money, and then that money makes even more money, and it just snowballs over time. Sally ends up ahead, even though she puts in less overall, because those early years, that's where the magic happens. Her investments have all that extra time to grow like crazy.
Well, yeah. It's not even just how much you invest, it's when you start.
Right, we're talking about a difference of like $60,000. That's compound growth for you.
It really hits home how important that is.
Sure.
Okay, so another big one Sethi gets into is debt. And he doesn't just give that typical get out of debt advice. He goes deeper, talks about the psychology, why we avoid dealing with it.
Yeah, he calls it the ostrich effect, burying your head in the sand, ignoring those credit card bills because actually facing them brings up all those bad feelings.
Oh, yeah.
But Sethi's point is, avoiding it only makes it worse in the long run.
For sure. He's all about tackling debt head on, and he gives you these practical strategies to do it. I love how he throws in those real-life success stories, too. He talks about this guy, early 20s, totally drowning in credit card debt, managed to pay off a ton of it in under 2 years, just using Sethi's system.
Yeah, and what's so inspiring about that story is how the guy focused on those small wins early on to stay motivated. He went after his smallest debt first, got that quick win, and used that momentum to keep going.
I love that.
It's a good reminder that even small changes can make a huge difference over time.
It's so true. Those small wins can be huge for staying motivated.
And that's what's so great about Sethi's approach. He takes these big, scary financial things and breaks them down into totally doable steps. Speaking of which, he's all about building that solid financial foundation, and he's got this clear roadmap for how to do it.
Okay, so what's the roadmap look like?
He wants you to start with credit cards, then get those bank accounts in top shape, and then finally, you dive into the world of investing.
Makes sense. So credit cards first. Honestly, I still get a little freaked out when I hear credit cards. My family, they were like totally anti-credit card, so it's ingrained in me.
Oh, I hear you. That's a classic money script so many of us grew up with, right? But Sethi, he challenges that whole idea. He says a credit card, if you use it responsibly, can actually be a really powerful tool for building a strong credit score, which can actually save you money over time, believe it or not.
Wait, seriously? How so?
Well, think of it like this. A good credit score. That gets you lower interest rates on loans, better deals on stuff like rental applications. It can even affect things like your insurance premiums. No. It's basically your financial reputation,
I never thought of it that way. That makes sense, though.
Really?
So Sethi's all about showing us how to use credit cards strategically, then.
Totally. He even gives you specific tips on how to negotiate lower interest rates and get those annoying annual fees waived.
Wait, you can get those waived?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes all you have to do is ask. It's crazy how often these financial companies, they're willing to work with you if you just pick up the phone and advocate for yourself a little.
That's a good point. We probably have more power than we think when it comes to our finances, huh?
Oh, for sure. Now, once you've got that credit card game down, Sethi wants you to turn your attention to another big piece of your financial foundation. Your bank accounts.
Bank accounts. Okay, this is one where I feel like I should know more than I do.
Well, Sethi starts by saying, we should rethink our whole relationship with those big traditional banks.
Okay.
He says they don't always have our best interests at heart, and he actually points to that Wells Fargo scandal from a few years back as a prime example.
Oh, right. That whole thing was a mess.
Yeah.
Definitely made me wonder who I could trust with my money.
And that's exactly Sethi's point. He says we should be checking out the alternatives, especially online banks. They often have lower fees, better interest rates, and their online platforms are way more user-friendly too.
So being open to those newer options, not just sticking with what we know,
Yeah.
even if it's not really the best.
Exactly. Be an informed consumer, even when it comes to something as basic as a bank account, right? Now, Sethi does have one really important piece of advice about choosing a bank. Don't be a rate chaser.
Don't be a rate chaser. Okay, I like that. What does that even mean?
It means don't get so hung up on getting the absolute highest interest rate that you miss other important stuff, like how stable the bank is, their customer service, the overall value they offer.
Yeah, because what's the point of a slightly higher interest rate if the bank's kind of shady or has terrible customer service?
Exactly. Building long-term financial well-being, it's about making those smart, sustainable choices, not just chasing the quick win.
Solid advice. Okay, so we've tackled credit cards, we've streamlined our bank accounts. What's next on Sethi's roadmap?
The big one, investing. But this is where Sethi's really great, He takes investing, which can seem so intimidating, and makes it feel totally doable for anyone, not just Wall Street people.
Yeah. I love that about him. He doesn't make you feel like you need like a finance degree to get started or anything.
Exactly. And he starts by explaining this idea of tax-advantaged accounts, things like 401ks and Roth IRAs.
Okay, hold on. I have to admit, I always get those two mixed up.
Oh, it's easy to do. So basically a 401k, that's a retirement savings plan a lot of employers offer. It lets you invest pre-tax dollars, which can save you a ton in taxes. And a Roth IRA, that's an individual retirement account that you set up yourself. You contribute after tax dollars, but the cool thing is your money grows tax-free and you don't pay taxes when you take it out in retirement.
Okay, that makes more sense. So both are good for long-term savings, like for retirement.
Exactly. And Sethi is big on taking advantage of those employer matching programs with 401ks. He calls it free money that you'd be crazy to pass up.
Free money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's saying no to that.
Right. Now, when it comes to what to actually invest in, Sethi's a huge fan of automation and low-cost index funds.
Okay.
He even calls it a set-it-and-forget-it approach to building wealth.
Set it and forget it. Okay, I like the sound of that. Less work, more returns.
Yeah.
Tell me more. What exactly are index funds, though?
So an index fund, it's like a basket of stocks. It lets you invest in the whole market, which makes it less risky than if you're trying to pick individual companies.
Interesting. So instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you're spreading your investments out across the whole market. Sounds a lot less stressful than trying to pick winning stocks, that's for sure.
Exactly. And because index funds are passively managed, which means they just track a specific market index, they usually have way lower fees than actively managed funds. And Sethi is all about keeping those costs low so you get to keep more of what you earn.
Makes sense. So with these tax-advantaged accounts, putting money in consistently and this set it and forget it approach to index funds, you're saying anyone can start building wealth for their future.
Absolutely. And the best part, it doesn't require hours of research or watching the stock market like a hawk. Sethi breaks it down into a system that's simple and totally manageable.
You know what's so cool? Sethi doesn't just stop at the nuts and bolts of investing. He takes it a step further with this whole idea of living a rich life, which is about way more than just like how much money you have in the bank,
It really is. It's more about figuring out what you value most and making sure your spending lines up with that, making conscious decisions about where your money goes, And in the end, it's about creating a life that really lights you up, one that's full of the stuff that brings you joy and makes you feel fulfilled.
So it's not about like being super frugal or depriving yourself. It's about being thoughtful about your spending so you can enjoy the things that actually matter to you.
Exactly. And he illustrates this really well with these different spending personalities. He talks about the partier, the nonprofit employee, and the shoe lover.
Oh, yeah. Those examples were so spot on. They really stuck with me. So how do these different personalities show us what a rich life could look like?
Okay, so the partier. They're all about experiences. They love to travel, socialize, that kind of thing. Their rich life is all about making memories and connecting with people. So they might be willing to spend more on things like eating out, entertainment, trips.
Right. And then there's the nonprofit employee who gets so much meaning from their work and giving back. For them, a rich life might look like maybe they choose to live a little more simply so they can donate more to causes they care about, or so they can pursue work that feels truly meaningful, even if it doesn't pay a ton.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got the shoe lover. They express themselves through fashion and it brings them joy. So their rich life might mean having a closet full of amazing shoes, even if it means cutting back in other areas to make it happen.
I love that. It shows there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to living a rich life, right? It's about figuring out what truly matters to you and then making your spending decisions based on that.
Totally. And that's really Sethi's point. Conscious spending isn't about denying yourself. It's about making choices that feel good and align with what you value most.
It's about being in control of your money and your life, basically. So we've covered a lot here: saving, investing, conscious spending. Is there anything else Sethi recommends for building that rich life?
Oh, yeah. He gives some really solid advice on how to up your earning potential, too. Like, he talks about negotiating a raise, turning those side gigs into something more sustainable, and even how to be smart about those unexpected chunks of money that come your way, like bonuses or, when you get a little windfall from somewhere.
He's all about making your money work harder for you, right? Not just focusing on earning more, but being strategic with the money you do make.
Exactly. It's about getting into those good habits, automating your savings, investing those raises and bonuses right away, and just always being on the lookout for ways to grow your income. It's that whole abundance mindset.
I love that. So as we wrap things up, what would you say is the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with from Sethi's "I will teach you to be rich"? What's the key message here?
Honestly, I think it comes down to this. Anyone can build a rich life. It's not about getting lucky or having some secret formula or being a financial whiz. It's about understanding how you relate to money, making choices that feel good, and taking those consistent actions toward your goals.
It's about having the power to create your own financial well-being, right?
Exactly. And remembering it's a journey, not a destination. There will be times when things get tough. But if you've got the right mindset and strategies in place, you can get through those challenges and build a life of abundance and fulfillment. It's totally possible.
Well said. This deep dive has been an awesome overview of Sethi's core principles. But to our listeners, remember, this is just the beginning. If any of this resonated with you, definitely grab a copy of "I Will Teach You to Be Rich" and dig deeper into his insights.
Yeah, take what works for you, make those strategies your own, and get started on building a rich life that truly reflects who you are and what you're all about.
Because at the end of the day, financial freedom, it's not just about the numbers, right?
Huh.
It's about having the resources and the freedom to design a life that feels authentically you and that's full of the stuff you value most.
That's it. And that's definitely a journey worth taking.